in life, but it certainly made my packed lunches very difficult to trade in school the next day. Don't like to dwell on the past, it tends to leave a bit of a bad taste in the mouth. Studied Welsh language when I was at school and not particularly good at it, and the other pupils in the class knew this, and they actually convinced me during one lesson that the famous Welsh expression "pobl cwm" actually meant suck me off. The ironic thing I found later in my life is that if you did suck me off, then I would probably come. So I'm not from around here. I live in Cardiff at the moment. I live in a little place called Splot. I don't know whether anyone's ever heard of it. It's a fucking gold mine of material on its own. Some people think that Splot's rough. I would disagree, but then again, Clifton Street, the main high street that runs through the centre of Splot, is the only place in the entire world where I've ever seen a dog step in a human shit. I took a girl home from Splot one night. I rephrase that, she followed me home. Got her into the house, and quite a passionate move for me. I took her into the kitchen, and I bent her over the kitchen surface and started smoothing the inside of her thighs. And she went, "Oh my God, are you going to take me from behind in the kitchen?" I said, "No, love, I'm checking you for fucking weapons." My next door neighbour is an absolute dick, okay? There's no other way to describe him. He's a nightmare, right? He's really inconsiderate, he keeps to his own hours. And he probably does drugs and stuff, not the good ones, the shitty ones. And he's got a mate he lives over the way, and he's a twat as well, he's awful. And they're on the same page, and they're really close, and they're in cahoots, right? 3 o'clock on a Tuesday morning, now this was, and I got work the next day. The matey across the way shouts at my neighbour, bruv, window to window now, bruv, guess about what? You never guess. I just had a delivery of ketamine. I jumped out of bed, opened the window and shouted back, "Young man! I was wrong about you. I had no idea you kept horses." You've got to watch what's around you, you know? I mean, the world is such an interesting place. The other day I walked past a sign outside a hardware store. The sign said over 75,000 tools inside. So I nicked the sign and put it on the gates of Old Trafford. I think that Pat Butcher, the EastEnders character, should become the new manager of the England football team. Because not only is she more of a man than Roy Hodgson will ever be, she can also shout, "Leave it, Frank," every time that Frank Lampard goes to take a penalty. Luis Suarez, the disgraced footballer Luis Suarez's autobiography and his entire life story is actually available to download on the internet at the moment. It's causing loads of problems, but it takes ages to download. Mind you, it does contain 3 megabytes. It's delicious, isn't it? Right, fuck the football. I'm going to move on to something else now. He's a cheeky one for everyone. I thought I saw an albino in the street the other day. It turns out it was just a pigment of my imagination. So I've not always done this. I've not always done the stand-up comedy. I used to run a succession of fictitious pubs and clubs all over Britain that would never have existed based on the actual title. There was the Liverpool Working Man's Club, the Newcastle Ladies Club, Bridgend Social Club. I've seen the Asmo figures. Neath Gentlemen's Club, the Thalidomide Arms. There was. Sorry, guys. We had to close the Thalidomide Arms because no one could find it. I did actually buy a pub off Elton John in the 1980s, and it reminded me of Elton in too many ways. It was called the Plump Cottager. All the telltale signs were there. You know, he had a yellow brick road on entrance, thatched roof made of unconvincing blonde hay, unacceptable conditions in the back passage due to leakage. And it was fully furnished, a lot like Elton as well. Yes, oh yeah. One of my friends has just got a job for a marketing company, okay? And what he's doing at the moment is he's collecting information. You know, you get those feedback cards in pubs and restaurants and hotels and things like that. There's a box now. They're all anonymous, and there's a box now that says any other comments, so you can write any other comments. And now they're anonymous. People have started writing some pretty fucked up shit there because they know it can't actually be traced. And my mate's having an absolute ball doing this, so I hope you don't mind. I'm going to read out some. These are actual feedback comments from a pub in Barry, okay, it's a restaurant in Barry called The Battered Wife. Okay. It's a chain, there's loads of them all over Britain. And these are the comments, and they're in any other comments, these are the comments, okay. Excellent service all round. The imaginative cocktails were a perfect start to our evening. I may kill again. Ample parking made life very easy. Good value, good service, good job! Exclamation mark. I licked the rim of the toilet seat in the gents. It tasted strongly of piss. How do you ever expect me to return here? Love, Imogen. I especially enjoyed the large baps on the man who served us. We'll definitely be coming back here. It's my birthday next week. Smiley face. Any chance of a freebie? LOL. I'm thinking of giving Madeline back. As with any growing teenager, she's going through shoes at an alarming rate. And to be completely honest, her mood swings are starting to do my fucking head in. I blame the internet for absolutely everything, okay? This is a fucked up place, it's disgusting. I was on an internet porn engine the other day with my 13-year-old nephew. Someone's got to tell him how to use it. And a pop-up window came up and it said, would you like to see single mothers get fucked in the arse? I clicked on yes and said, congratulations sir, you've just voted Conservative at the next general election. I was walking through a protest the other day. Well, my girlfriend said to me recently that I waste time just to get cheap silly laughs. I was walking through a protest the other day in the centre of Cardiff, and it was amazing. It was a pro-birth control protest. Okay, it was very brightly coloured. It was beautiful. It was very harmonious, and there was loads of people there that were singing, they were dancing, they were playing musical instruments, and it was a really nice vibe. And we went over to find out what it was all about. And there was a woman stood there with an enormous sign in huge letters that said, "Take your Bible out of my vagina." Right? And I looked at it and thought, this is fucked. So I went home and I made my own sign just to go back there to stand next to it with an enormous sign that said, "Has anyone seen my Bible?" I mentioned my girlfriend there. She's an absolutely fantastic person, and she's got this really adorable habit. She can get quite stressy at sometimes. I remember we were walking through a really busy part of Cardiff called Albany Road, and she was getting really pissed off with all the people, so I tried to make light of it, and I was like, "Oh, sweetheart, Albany Road is full today." And she went, "Yes, it is. It's full of slags." That's when I realised I was, in fact, in a relationship with Ray Winston. But it's crazy. She said this actually the other day. She actually said this out loud, so I'm told. She said, "I like to go into work still pissed from the night before because it makes the day more fun and more interesting." Now, you can say what you want in job interviews, but she's not getting a lot of callbacks. But she's got this adorable thing about her that she gets things wrong, okay? And I'm not taking the piss out of her at all. I've vetoed all this material and she's absolutely fine with it, okay? She gets things wrong and it creates an entire different meaning, okay? I'll give you an example. She gets people mixed up. She got these people mixed up, right? The actor Gary Oldman and the actor Gary Coleman. Okay, now I don't know whether you're aware of the difference between the two. Obviously, one is a BAFTA and a nomination, Academy Award, Golden Globe winner, and described in Rolling Stone magazine 2012 as the greatest living actor of all time. Where the other one is a small child who played Arnold in the television show Different Strokes, who actually took his parents to court in the 1980s for misrepresentation. Basically, they stole all of his money. He got all the money back off them, and 6 months later declared himself bankrupt, which proves a very clear point: the kids are shit with money. The reason why I know this actually happened is I was sat there watching the Oscars in my lounge, and she was in another room, and the Oscars were on, and I shouted to her, I said, "Sweetheart, you never guessed, Gary Oldman Feldman's been nominated for an Oscar, and she shouted back, "Oh, I love him." What you talking about, Willis? I'll give you another example, and this one I think is even better. Australian soap opera character Harold Bishop and popular serial killer Harold Shipman. Massive amount of difference there, obviously, and you can imagine the sort of roles getting reversed. You can imagine Neighbours, for example. It'd be the shortest soap opera in Australia's history. You can imagine Neighbours, Paul Robinson going, "Oh, I don't feel very well, I'm going to go to the doctors." 2 weeks later, Paul Robinson was a good man who today we lay to rest. On the other hand, the SWAT team are surrounding Harold Bishop's house. "Why'd you kill all those pensioners, Harold?" And he's like that. "Oh, get in the van, you fat prick." Stop looking like my old man as well. I'm just trying to think of another one now. Oh yeah, in January this year, January 2014, it was a Saturday night. And she said to me, "Tony, what are your parents doing tonight?" I was really excited. I said, "Look, they're going to a burns night." And she went, "Oh, that is so sweet that they visit burns victims in hospitals." I said, "No, love, it's Rabbie Burns." And she went, "Oh, is that man who got burnt in the Falklands?" That was Simon Weston. But I'm going to leave you with this now, and he said something fucked earlier, so I hope you're all going to be alright with this. Yes, anyway. My girlfriend's best friend, one of her best friends, recently had a son, okay? Now, the girl who had this child is an extremely clever girl. She has a master's degree, really, really good job. And the husband as well is a doctor. He got a PhD, and they're really, really clever. And they were always worried about bringing someone who wasn't particularly clever into the world for some reason. And this beautiful boy, Oscar, was born, okay? And there was a card going around my girlfriend's workplace saying these lovely things, saying things like, "Congratulations on the birth of your son, Oscar. Here's another Mensa candidate," and things like, "Oh, you know, he's going to be a doctor. No, he's going to be a scientist. He can be whatever he wants to be. This boy is beautiful. You know, congratulations, the best of luck." My girlfriend looked at the card and in a completely innocent, hungover state, wrote this very thing in a card. "Congratulations on the birth of your baby boy. When he grows up, I hope he's like Stephen Hawking." The sorry card she wrote 2 days later was extremely lovely, by the way. It's always really annoying, isn't it, that when you ring someone and you always get their machine. At least Stephen Hawking has got a fucking excuse. So. Do you know what? This has been a fantastic experience. I got all my material out, and you've been lovely. Thank you so much indeed.